Good day, this is WesternPacificWeather.com's fifth video update for Typhoon Ma-on. It is the 16th of July 2011, 08 Zulu, 4 p.m. Philippine time, or 5 p.m. Japan time. Heavy Typhoon Ma-on, located approximately 1,150 kilometers southeast of Okinawa, with maximum sustained winds of 205 kilometers per hour, gusting to 250. Ma-on is moving west-northwestward as of the moment at around 15 kilometers per hour. Ma-on has weakened from a Cat 4 now down to a Cat 3 from compared to a previous update about 24 hours ago. It is actually weakened to about 195 kilometers per hour 6 hours ago, but has since regained some strength based on the latest warnings. You can see a great shot here of the visible image, a larger version of it. You can see the extent of the coverage of the storm. It's a large storm, but not particularly or a very large. But you can see definitely the well-defined eye here. Also that central dense overcast, and also that large inflow that sucked Tokage about 12 hours ago. JDWC and JMA gave their final warnings for that tropical depression, a short-lived one that formed east of the Philippines. Here in the Philippine Sea, moved quickly eastward towards the inflow, and now absorbed by Ma-on. So Tokage or Hana is no more. Now looking at this shot, you can see Ma-on here. This is Okinawa and their UQs, and also those are that's the mainland Japan. You have Kyushu, Shikoku, and that's Honshu to the north. We expect Ma-on to start turning northward towards that mainland Japan, although some interesting changes in the forecast. You're gonna have to stay tuned for that. And we have the infrared image. Now, I may sound a broken record here, but I've been talking about this sort of pulsating activity on Ma-on, sort of fluctuations, mini fluctuations, with regards to weakening and strengthening, and we've seen that for the past 3 days now. I've been going back and forth towards between that Cat 3 and Cat 4 rating, and yeah, it's due to its size. It's sorting out the overall structure of the storm. I mean, you can see eye wall at times, and then you can see it cloud filled again. Sometimes on IR, you can see the signature actually, only to reappear again in the next few hours. And you can see here we have a great shot of the eye and the infrared. Also, you can see here dry air being entrained on the system. We've seen that many times now, and which is definitely weakening the storm a little bit, although that heavy convection, that eye wall being well defined here, being well structured, definitely sustaining that little bit of intensification, very small in terms of rate, about 5 to 10 knots per 6 hours. And although, yeah, I mean, right now it does look good, but not particularly strong, or menacing. I mean, this is a strong storm, no doubt about it. But in terms of this types of environment, as I said before, I mean, you would have expect this to go rapidly intensification by now. But yeah, not seeing that with Ma-on right now. I mean, it as of the past update, yeah, we've talked about how it's strengthened a little bit, but I mean, this is a great shot of the TMI. 37 gigahertz shot, and you can see a great development there, low levels, and you can see an eye here. But when you take a look at this 85 gigahertz, I mean, you can see that the northern half of the eye wall is open, partially open. I mean, you can see an outer ring here trying to sustain and hold itself together, but that eye wall just can't have that. Just couldn't remain there for a long time, and you've seen this eye wall form and reform back and over again. And you can see right now, this is the latest one, but taken about 2 hours ago, and you can see that eye wall partially open. So yeah, definitely some difficulties with regards to powerful and explosive intensification that we normally see in this basin. But I mean, I wouldn't write this storm just yet. I mean, computer models are still showing this to intensify. Euro is actually expecting this to peak just before landfall. So yeah, I mean, there's still time for this storm. I mean, the environment still looks good. Sea surface temperatures are still high, wind shear still favorable, but that still the dry air. This is a great image from the this is a tropical, I mean, total precipitable water. You can see that dry air being entrained to the center of the storm. You can see right now that it's the northern half of the storm just experiencing the effects of ingesting that dry air. I can't run the animation for this PowerPoint, but I've been looking at the animation of this one. It stretches about to 36 hours, and yeah, definitely shows a great image of the scenario that we've been talking about, the dry air being ingested by the storm. Also, and yeah, so there you go. I mean, I expect this to still strengthen, but not as explosive of an intensification rate that you would normally see. Now, moving on to the other part of this update. Now, moving on to this, this is the steering layers up in the atmosphere, and this is very interesting because we forecast how the high pressure will weaken and reorient to the southeast, just as the JDWC said. And yeah, we've seen this for the past 6 to 12 hours now. The high pressure moving, subtropical ridge now moving south of Japan, southeast from its previous position, right south of the Honshu region, now moving southeast, which is allowing Ma-on to actually start and begin turning northward. We've seen the IR and visible satellite image for the past 2 hours. Definitely some slight movement to the north already beginning to turn there from by Ma-on. So definitely gonna be critical. And as I said before, slight shift westward or eastward could definitely affect change huge part of the forecast down the road, either Okinawa or Kanto plain here. But yeah, now moving on to the computer model forecast, still have that divergence towards that day 3 mark, with the CMC being the eastern outlier and the UK Met and the Euro, which I will show later, being the western outliers here. You can also actually see GFS here, the red line, forecasting Ma-on to turn north and then sharply turn to the east, actually avoiding a completely avoiding a landfall in Honshu. So yeah, definitely interesting and a bit of good news for those of you in Japan. GFS is showing a scenario like this. It's still pretty strong storm from this model, but yeah, definitely showing that sharp recurve to the east in response to that subtropical ridge right around east of Ma-on as it turns north. But yeah, definitely still has to watch the changes that will go and that will be shown by the models. Now moving on to the Euro or the ECMWF model, still showing this a landfall somewhere in Shikoku or eastern Kyushu by Tuesday morning. It's actually one of the fastest models in terms of speed and landfall time. And this run by the Euro actually shows it peaking just before landfall around I believe 200 to 210 kilometers per hour from this model, around 57 meter per second storm just before it hits Shikoku. And also you can see here, this is Okinawa, and you can see by Tuesday you can still see the Euro bringing in some weak tropical storm winds towards Okinawa and the Ryukyus definitely. And actually on as early as Monday, Okinawa will begin to feel that the strong winds and rough waves, and also some heavy rain that could definitely impact the islands there. Okinawa may not feel the effects of the eye and the eye wall, but definitely with the large wind ridge of the storm, you're definitely still gonna be seeing some those strong winds there. And moving into the weather agencies, we have here JMA also showing that very interesting sharp recurve to the east. I mean, yeah, I look at the GFS here it also shows that, and we have also here JMA, and forecasting it by around Wednesday morning. It should be out into the Pacific Ocean. It brushes Honshu, but doesn't make any sort of landfall in terms of eye hitting the land. But definitely southern half of these islands, Honshu and Shikoku, definitely going to be feeling strong winds as well. There's no denying with that. I mean, in terms of wind and rain coverage, yeah, and affecting as far east as Tokyo, Kanto Plain, Shikoku here, Osaka, and Kyoto. Definitely gonna be watching for the latest warnings from your weather agency, the JMA. Here's JDWC's latest this forecast, actually about 6 hours old, 6 hour old now, taken 00 Zulu actually, and you can see also showing that recurve to the east and just minor brush to the southern part of Honshu, south of Kyoto, by Tuesday or Wednesday morning, Wednesday morning Japan time, and by Thursday it's out into the Pacific. Although you can still see in this intensity forecast that Ma-on is expected to retain that typhoon status throughout its movement across the Japanese mainland. And still see, you can also see here at the closest point of approach towards Okinawa, around 273 nautical miles, or 500 kilometers on Monday morning Japan time there. So around 500 kilometers well east of Kadena, although I said before still gonna be feeling some effects from Ma-on. For JDWC expecting a landfall. JMA is not, but it could shift either way, so definitely gonna be watching that. And also, just for a third opinion here, we're including the Korean Meteorological Administration forecast there also. Again, general turn to the north. It's actually much closer to Okinawa than the previous two agencies that we've shown. You can see here at around Monday morning Japan time, it's just 420 kilometers east of Okinawa. So yeah, definitely gonna be interesting to watch, and for the folks there, just keep on watching, just be updated and be informed. Now eventually the Ma-on is forecast by the KMA to track, and if you interpolate here, it would probably make landfall somewhere in Shikoku. And for us here, Western Pacific Weather, also expecting that we've actually shifted east our track a little bit in response to the latest models and the weather agencies shifting theirs also. Although we still expect this storm to make landfall. I mean, looking at the tracks showing that sharp recurve, and there's a chance, and definitely definitely watch for that. But based on the trends and the ridge, is still a very critical part of our forecast. That we always want to make our forecasts right, but right now, just think it might still make landfall. I mean, as I said, it could go either way. So yeah, just watch for, be informed, and also look for our latest updates again tomorrow. We will definitely have a very more definitive forecast as Ma-on starts that northward trek towards Japan. I mean, right now it's still moving west-northwestward. So still have to wait for that sharp turn to the north in response to the STR. So as I said, the small shifts could still go either way, and right now we're still including Okinawa in our forecast cone, just in case, in terms of movement and trends that we will watch. So yeah, again, always listen to your official weather agencies and administrations and their forecast. We have to remind you, this is not official. This is our just educated guess, educated forecasts based on computer models and weather agencies. But again, these are the links for the official ones Also, westernpacificweather.com for the latest updates and videos. Definitely gonna be putting up tomorrow again, and storm2k.org.